Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, and we're taking out the XF-90, fastest airplane in the game, and my first tier 10 heavy I ever got. I really wanted something fast, and this pretty much hits all the points as the fastest aircraft in the game. Somebody requested in one of my videos recently if I could do a video on the XF-90, so here it is. I've got no problems flying this thing, it's a joy. Disclaimer up front, this is going to be against all bots, but don't discount that because these bots must have some type of Uber bot on board because I have a really tough time in this battle. And of course the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head over here to the command center. I'm dropping off these two bombs, I'm blowing straight through the zone, and I will come back to engage those fighter aircraft. Those bombs are more than enough to be able to take out that square antennaed section of the command center opposed to the special site. It's just a typical hardened, and then we're going to be diving in on these Spitfires. Close call with the bomber there, but you can see here the 6 20mm cannons do some serious work and are able to tear that aircraft up. Now we have two bombers up above, and I make a critical error here. I go after the bomber and not the heavy fighter. I've said this before, you always go after the most dangerous target to you first, because if you die, you're of no good to anybody, you're of no use to anybody, and oh, by the way, you're actually causing your team some capture points here. So watch what happens to this zone capture as I get destroyed by that F2H. We have dropped down to half of the capture opposed to just a sliver left. So now I gotta come back and make up for my mistake while the enemy is already ticking away on capture points with the airfield. We managed to eventually grab the command center, but they're about to grab theirs, and we're not necessarily making any decent headway on the capture point pool. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to go next. I think my best bet is to head back to the command center and provide some defensive fire because we do have bombers inbound from the enemy, and I want to get a little bit of vengeance on this F2H and allow my Tu-12 to be able to traverse to the next portion of the battlefield. The F2H and I actually have the same cannons, it's just that I've got two more of them compared to him. I have a feeling that ours take a little bit longer to overheat. There has to be some change. I'm not sure what it is. You know what? I'm willing to bet that I'm wrong. I think they fire at the same rate. It's just that 30% more damage really is a huge boon. And to add insult to injury, we have gas operated action on here, and we also have 15% chance of fire with the pieces of equipment we have on here, not to mention the universal ammo. Anybody who's taken a look at the statistics for the XF-90 will note that it has the worst turn time of any heavy fighter in the game at 17.3, I believe. We'll check it out when we get back to the hangar, but it's meant to be a dart. This thing is, I've oftentimes affectionately called it the lawn dart because the thing kind of looks like one. It's all engines and the wings are relatively small compared to the overall length of the airframe. We're going to come down through here and try to put a little bit of damage in on these bombers, see what we can do to get some hurt out there. Oh, there's an F2H. Looks like we've got a bit of a sound bug I just noticed. And now we're going to dive down on these bombers, I believe. Nope, we got to take the F2H out, so I did learn my lesson at this point. He's in the clouds, but we are going to fire a couple ranging shots. Yep, we're definitely hitting him. And we knocked him out, and we're up over 10,000 feet, but we're still maintaining over 400 miles per hour. But you'll see we're in the yellow at 400. That's how fast this aircraft is. Looks like the sound came back for us, so that's good. Getting some rounds out on this Tu-12. I would like to take him out because he does have 4 very big bombs. I don't want making impact or impacting any of the targets in this area. Now that we've taken him out, we actually still have tons of time to go after those incoming bombers, or at least take out one of them, I think. So let's see how powerful these cannons can be against a full health aircraft. And poof, that was a lot of damage very quickly in a very fast airframe. Again, climbing up to altitude and going after this Tu-12. Now, just take note as we're flying around here how small this battlefield feels with this aircraft moving at the speeds that it's moving. We are seldom dropping below 400 miles per hour and usually sticking around 500. Here we got up to over 600 and we're carrying the bombs, which are known for slowing this airframe down. I decided to throw these on here just for giggles because I feel like the aircraft is already so fast that how could you possibly hurt it, hurt its airspeed. But here we are, and we are getting air superiority against us. They're just ticking away on capture points, and these are all bots. So what's going on here? I think there's some things I definitely could have done better, but I feel like my mistakes at the very beginning is what established this already negative trend for us. I figured this game was pretty much over at this point. I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to get some kills in. Maybe I can do another good video for these guys in a little bit. But then I really start syncing up with these cannons, and after I kill this Tu-12 inside the zone, and my allies were able to grab that garrison, I think, you know what, it's not over till it's over. Let's focus on the gameplay. We just got grade 1 heavy fighters, so we've definitely been doing what our aircraft was designed to do. And while I was saying that the bombs aren't necessarily that useful, there we just had a prime opportunity to get some bombs out on target, and we actually have a fairly quick reload on these bombs for a heavy fighter. 120 seconds is definitely pretty quick. We managed to pick up 3 zones now, so hopefully if we can capture that other zone and get air superiority, we might be able to hold it together. But in the interim, we've already done a fantastic job as a heavy fighter, so let's press forward and see if we can maximize our points and get that wing legend that I really want to get. The enemy is going pretty hot and heavy against this garrison, but again, we're moving at 600 miles per hour, and look how quickly we've already gotten to the next part of the map. Full intercept on this F-84F. Just honing in on him, and now we're already more than halfway through the zone. I'm not going to keep turning with him. We already know I'm not going to be able to do that. Getting some shots out here, and the volume of fire coming out of this aircraft is nearly on par with the type of fire that you see coming out of that F-94 out of a single gun, and now you've got 6 of these kind of doubling up their, increasing the overall volume of fire. So I feel like it's very similar to the way that we kind of feel the F-94's gun operating at, like that high rate of fire and just sheer volume. And this is when I start to get an idea that maybe we can pull it together. There's only a sliver left of this zone. There's an enemy player down below, or not a player, but an enemy aircraft. Not an air defense fighter, and we're going to hone in on him and just unload. That helped us flip the zone. We fixed our engine. We just got the McGuire medal, and now we have air superiority. So we're kind of closing that gap right now, and with Squall Line, the aircraft I'm killing aren't coming back. I love Squall Line. It's such a good thing to have. The lead aircraft was already damaged, so we're able to take one out. Just picked up Flying Paladin badge, and now I said to myself, you know what? Let's go after this next incoming bomber flight. If I can just take out one of these aircraft, it'll prevent it from being a single pass capture. There's already a low health bomber in that group. It looks like he dispensed his bombs already, but figure we might as well give it a shot. In the interim, I'm going to transit through. I'm going to hit that boost cooler, and I'm going to get over to the Tu-12. So something that was brought up as the battle closes and we managed to eke out a victory. Prince of High Roller Sergeant Slaughter actually mentioned that the boost cooler, if you just hit it and hammer down the boost, you only get 10 seconds of free boost. However, if you hit it and wait, what you'll find is that you'll actually gain more of your boost back than you would if you were to just hammer down on it after hitting the boost cooler. So if you have time, just keep hitting that boost cooler as it becomes available and you need it, and then just let it accumulate on its own without hammering down on the boost. So anyways, let's go to the results real quick. Alright, so just because they're bots doesn't mean that it's easy, right? But you can see here that the aircraft performed very well, even in my hands, and carrying the bombs didn't really hurt it too bad, but we also weren't being hard countered by a player possibly in a similar aircraft, another heavy. So we ended up doing just fine. We're able to kill 16 aircraft, getting 31 crits, kind of get the breakdown here. But we started a lot of aircraft on fire, and that's due to the high rate of fire of the cannons and the 10% chance of fire rolled with the gun sight that we have equipped. Speaking of the gun sight, let's go ahead and roll over to my equipment setup. We are not specialized. I'm not specialized in any of my tier 10s, to be honest with you, but we have gone with the gyroscopic gun sight and we've rolled for fire, as I just mentioned. And then I really am a big fan of putting on one of these boost augmentations at this tier bracket. It's going to be called the high speed gas turbine, and that I usually like to roll an engine cooldown rate increase, which will allow you to be able to get that boost back that much quicker. The nice thing about this airframe is that in the consumables you actually have 2 open slots. I really like putting on engine cooling, which allows me to be able to get that boost back that much faster. And then gas operated action has actually been doing good for me, especially since this also has rolled chance of fire. I think I would prefer to have rolled on here the cooldown rate of the forward firing armament. The fire is nice to be able to get that extra damage as you pass by, but those times that we were locked in on those bombers, I would have much rather have been able to get those guns back up even quicker so we wouldn't have had that potential loss of the sight like we experienced. The universal ammo, of course, is also going to increase the chance of fire or critical damage, which is definitely something that is a bonus to have on any heavy fighter. As you can see here, there's the 6 cannons. They're mounted underneath the engine intake, which means they're centrally located. You can run this thing with or without bombs. It is the fastest aircraft in the game. Watch the numbers over on the right hand side over here by airspeed. You'll see we're rated at a 97, and then when I mount or demount the bombs rather, we quickly go up to over 100. So an aircraft that has the capability of getting up to 728 miles per hour straight and level, and then getting up to 745 in a dive. Now, all of these heavy aircraft at tier 10 all have the potential to get up to 745 in a dive, but you'll note that their straight and level airspeeds do not break 700. So you're only going to really be seeing that on this airframe. In fact, let's go ahead and strip off your bombs real quick just so we're more accurate here, but it gets close, but it's just not quite there. So the XF-90, what a great plane. That thing's all engines. I mean, look at it. It's pretty much the whole length of the aircraft is going to be intake and burner cans. So if you're looking for a really good interceptor, this is the best bet. This, again, was my first tier 10 fighter. I wanted something that was the best at something. This is the best speed fighter, and ever since I started flying the heavies and really getting addicted to speed builds, this is going to be the aircraft of choice for most of you out there. Now, bear in mind, your turn time is abysmal for a heavy fighter. 17.7 second, or 17.3 second turn time. Sure, if you were to specialize this, you might be able to put on some increased maneuverability characteristics underneath airframe and engine, but I'd probably just keep pushing for speed. I find the ability to get across the battlefield is going to be paramount. These things, did you notice how small the battlefield felt? It just felt like it was really small as a result of the speed, and that's what I really like about this, especially at tier 10. You never feel like you're waiting to get to the next spot. You're almost instantaneously there, and this really is kind of the pinnacle of the American heavy fighter line. So, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.